All right, folks, good evening, welcome. It's time for Journalist Hangout, where the pen pushers meet and discuss contemporary Nigeria and the contemporary problems, man-made. I am Citizen Jones, and today on the program, APC Presidential Committee screens Tinubu, Bakare, Amaechi, and others, weighs options in the aftermath of Atiku's victory, as Bauchi governor moves to reclaim governorship ticket after losing presidential primary. But let's report that I'm hanging out here this evening with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, I greet you.
Good afternoon.
You seem to be enjoying the melodrama unfolding before us.
Yes, enjoys the same quantity as you are enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. I wonder about Adewale Adeoye.
Well, it's interesting. We are learning new things on the feed.
And you wonder if politicians have learned new things, have forgotten anything.
Yeah, perhaps they are teaching us new things that we have learned.
Teaching us new things. Before. I take that home. So the team is ready. I hope you are. All right, you know about a miscarriage of justice and prison congestion. Are the twins? These are sore parts of our judicial system, but we still have hope that justice must prevail in the short or long run. A Lagos State High Court has ordered the release of an inmate, Maxwell Dele, who was tortured and detained for more than 11 years without trial. A group, Lawyers Without Borders in France, stated in a statement that the practice of charging suspects with serious offenses in order to have them remanded in prison indefinitely without prosecution needed to stop. So according to the country director of the group in Nigeria, Angela Uzuama Iwuchukwu, the case of Dele, who was arbitrarily detained for more than 11 years, reflects both an overburdened justice system and structural problems between Nigeria's state and federal justice systems. Dele was arrested in place of a certain individual called James Idem, who police declared wanted for an armed robbery operation. Murphy's Law will say if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong.
This is more than something simply going wrong. I mean, it's a huge travesty. It's just unacceptable to keep a man in detention in lieu of someone else for upwards of 11 years. I mean, what could a man have done?
Both men are not related.
Even if they were related, you have no reason in the world to detain a man in place of another. Even if that person, even if the person who committed the offense is your offspring, there is no law by which you can be detained in place of that person and detained for that long.
11 years.
You know, sometimes they could just detain an individual in the hope that the person they are looking for will come forward, you know, and turn himself in. But 11 years, it just shows why we have so many people awaiting trial in our prisons. They do not allow even the innocent to go when they ought to be to actually be released. If you are investigating a crime, you detain people. Once the investigation is conducted, those who are free, because the police is allowed to arrest in the course of the investigation, those that you found not to be culpable should be released. If not for the chief judges of states who routinely go to the courts to free some of these inmates, we will have a much bigger problem on our hands. The statistics are just startling. more than 70% of people in prison, in our prisons, are awaiting trial, or what we call the pre-trial detainees. And the prisons themselves are holding more than 37% more of more than their capacity.
Congestion is a major problem.
It's a big problem. I remember when Beko was being detained in was in jail in Katsina. There was a man who for years not been able to appear in court. Why? When they want to bring him to court, it's either the Black Maria was not in good condition, or something will happen. So the man was in detention, and Beko, being the activist himself, he was serving his own term over the so-called 1995 coup. But he was angry enough to insist, while being an inmate, that that person should be brought before the court.
That's it.
Do you know that on the day they brought this man to court, he was freed? That's what Beko did. He probably saved a life. So these cases, I can't just imagine that someone will stay in 11 years in prison.
Waste 11 of his years.
Yes.
He just
wasted.
For a crime he never committed.
He didn't commit. Some people must have been even be executed in our country for crimes that they didn't commit.
Well, Wale, you know, it also tallies with the saying by the English dramatist James Shelley, there is no armor against fate. We talk about the criminal justice system in the country. Something has to be done.
I think just like Babajide has said, the case of Maxwell Dele is just a sign, it's a tip of the iceberg. I'm almost convinced there are people, based on what we are seeing, that even have spent more than 11 years who are still in prison. The Nigerian prison has capacity for 50,822 inmates. Whereas at now we have 70,056.
So like he said, call them correctional centers.
Yes, correctional centers. You know, so as he said, about 70% are awaiting trial. Only about 19,000 plus have been convicted. And you see, there are a lot of implications, even economically. Nigeria spends about 7.6 million feeding this people. Yes, in every year. And this feeding questionable. And then the other aspect is that there are a lot of people are exposed to mental illness. They're exposed to infectious diseases, you know, and then the trauma. This man that has spent 11 years in prison, you can imagine what his family will be thinking of him. You know, he just came back from prison. He has to start his life all over again. You know, he'll be isolated from the family. He'll be, you know, he probably will not even be able to get a new job. And the person they were looking for, James Eden, was a suspect.
Yeah.
Not that they had any evidence that he was a criminal. So it tells you the, you know, class content of our laws. That even though we claim that we are equal before the law, some are more equal than others.
Yeah.
You know, when you arrest big men, 500 million, stealing 500 million, you say it's money laundering. When a poor man steals goat, you say it's thief.
Well, you should go to GRA. That a poor man will.
You know, you go to GRA, people, rich men that are walking on the street, you say they are strolling. But if you go to Ajegunle, you say they are, you know, it's loitering. You know, they are loitering about. So, you know, we need to create a system where people will be seen to be equal before the law. This is a pathetic case, and I think it's because of the need for the government to do auditing of our prison system. Yeah. They can set up a panel, go around, you know, so that they can come up with a report, so that they can free many other Maxwell Dele that are in our prisons.
Yeah. The name is correctional centers. At this point, you are wondering how much correction a man like Maxwell.
A man who spent 11 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit. You've taken his humanity away. You've taken it away completely. Look, that man cannot recover. I'm just saying the truth. Oh. He can't recover. Where does he begin to pick up the pieces of his life? How is he going to do that?
What can you
Once you've gone to prison, even if it's for a few days, you're already stigmatized. The society begins to see you as someone who they should not fraternize with, who they should not hang out with. And we know that these prisons here are not correctional in any form. People come out of prison to embrace crimes that they never committed even before going to prison, because they picked up all kinds of unworthy lessons.
I know the
right
likes,
there inside
the
the
likes
prisons.
of Maxwell would go into prison for doing nothing, knows nothing about a crime, but he gets introduced to crime there.
That is the point that I was making, that
Yeah.
they go into prison to learn some
Things.
ugly new things.
That's
Ugly
it.
new things. Some of them come out of prison as sodomists, something they were not used to before they went to prison. Some of them join even bad company in prison.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who was detained maybe for loitering, he comes out of prison a hardened criminal, an armed robber. He becomes an armed robber because of the kind of friends he made while there. We've seen some people who were arrested who said that, look, they actually joined the robbery gang in prison. Yes. So once they are released, they are unleashed to the society, you then see that side of them that the society never knew. Because the prison system in our country, because it's congested, it's not fit for human habitation.
That's it.
It turns the regular detainee
Into a monster.
to a monster,
Yeah.
a Frankenstein monster. Look at, if you pack more than enough people into this hall, into this studio, for example, people will feel uneasy. People will start wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
Let me get out of here.
Yeah.
But we are talking about people who have to live with that for years. Years. In Lagos, as of June 2021, 8,000 people were detained in the prison here. 6,800 of those people detained were awaiting trial. So our prison is busting. Our prisons are busting at the seams with people who should not even be there in the first place. There ought to be a system that ensures that look,
that's it.
if you are awaiting trial, you should not stay too long in prison, because that turns you to a criminal.
Wale, we are in trouble. And I just hope that the legal system in this country will reinvent itself, because it cannot continue.
Yeah,
it cannot. All right, then we go to our next story. We take you to Kogi Central, Kogi State, and we talk about the Kogi Central ticket. You know, party primaries as part of preparations for the 2023 elections are here, and the impact of the outcomes, we can say, will be already visible and palpable. A record number of lawmakers lost out in various party primaries, and more than 40 of them will not be returning to the National Assembly. In Kogi State, 2 out of 3 senators lost out in their party primaries. In Kogi Central, specifically, a former commissioner for works there, Abubakar Ohere, won the APC ticket. In the primary election, he scored 260 votes, while Ramat Tijani Atta scored 13. And Dalhatu Sheriff came third with 11 votes. Now, let's share the outcome with you. Watch this.
I'm here to announce the results for now. Total accredited vote is 285. The total vote cast is 284. Invalid 1. Alhaji Dalhatu Sharif has 11 votes. Hajia Ramatu Shehu Atta has 13 votes. Engineer Abubakar Ohere has 260 votes. by the power conferred on me as a returning officer of Central Senatorial election for primary election, I'm here to declare that Engineer Abubakar has the highest vote.
The next distinguished senator. As the president of the national chairman, we formally declare you as the winner of this primary election. And so, APC!
I am glad and I want to wholeheartedly accept this result and indeed congratulate the organizing committee headed by the returning officer and our able body from the General Secretariat of the State Agency for the quiet and very unique peaceful conduct of this exercise. I appreciate wholeheartedly and I take the victory as a victory for the party.
Wale, you know, an election primary will combine the joy of victory and the agony of defeat.
Yeah.
And so they say the show goes on.
Well, I think one thing that I can see in Kogi State is that the state governor has strong hold, on the party, and I think there are a lot of complaints, not even only in Kogi East, also in Kogi Central, because even the person that won in Kogi East, where the governor comes from,
Kogi Central.
Yeah, Kogi Central. Two of the other people said they were not allowed to even come into the center of the event. So if the aspirants are not allowed to even come in and all that, how then do you declare that somebody had won the election? But I think there is a kind of hegemony in Kogi State, a very strong one, that is domineering. But it has consequences because Kogi people are very liberal. They are determined people, and you may think that you are in control of the station, but it may not last for a long time. I know that the people at the right time will prove to you that power belongs to God and not to you.
Yeah. That's your state. It should worry you somewhat.
I'm not worried at all because I know this person very well. He's one of the very few stars of the administration. Is, in my view, the star commissioner in Yabelo's administration. You need to see this second term especially, because it wasn't initially the works commissioner. It was commissioner for local government. But what Ohere has done as works commissioner during this short period that has been works commissioner, you've seen an overhead bridge along Ganaja. We've seen the KUSTEC, Confluence University. We've seen more than 23 new buildings springing up there. We've seen Lokoja Township roads getting the attention that they never got before now. We've seen Okene Township roads getting attention. We've seen hospitals in Kogi West, even in Okene, the reference hospital, the first of its kind in the state. This is the man who has supervised all that work. And even the teaching hospital in Ayingba also delivered. This is the man. I'm already thinking of how he will be missed.
Oh, really?
Yes, because for a long time, look at Kaba, for example. I had to go to those places myself because I'm not the kind of journalist that you simply give videotapes to say, go, this is what I've done. I had to visit Kaba to see the township roads that they were constructing, and I spoke with people. It is Ohere that the governor appointed as commissioner for works who has now made this work possible. So I'm already wondering how Yabelo will cope,
If he
knowing that one of the undoubted stars of his administration is going for a new assignment.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that
Well, it should be a plus.
that
He's going to make laws.
yes, but the thing is, it's not all the time that you get a capable replacement, a honest one.
Oh, well,
sometimes
that's
when you
where-
let someone
that's where
go,
the trouble
we
is.
see a new person who will not measure up. After all, somebody used to be there. Why didn't we see those projects? You understand? So I'm not surprised that he has won, because one, he has done so much within so short a time, and is a very likable person. It's not in all cases that we're able to
It's
please people during the elections.
It's not really a question of number one likes you, so you must.
No, I just reeled out achievements that I could tell you were not there even during the first term.
Okay.
Go into Conference University and see new buildings yourself, including the Senate building. These are places that I've been to. You understand? I was telling the governor when I interviewed the governor, I said, why didn't you do all of this during your first term? We have seen a ramping up of work during the second term. We didn't see this before. And I can tell you that the benefit of having a good aide, a good worker,
That's it.
working with you, is what we have seen with what Ohere has done. And it has pleased God to elevate him. I just hope that the governor will find another capable and honest person committed to development. Because that's what sets Ohere apart. He is focused, is not like others. He is already thinking that, oh, what will be our legacy? What will be our legacy?
Yeah.
And that is there, is encouraging the governor, let's do this, let's do this. So I'm not in any way surprised that is where he is.
Okay, Wale, but this is just half the battle. The big battle is ahead. You can only wish him well.
Yeah, the contending forces in Kogi are not that strong. That's the reality of PDP. So I'm not hopeful that the party will be upstage in the coming elections, because it doesn't seem as if any opposition there is offering a better alternative.
You are not preempting the outcome.
Yeah, I'm not preempting, but I'm giving the balance of forces in Kogi State. I don't see the party losing out.
Let's look at more in-depthly. I am wondering why politicians behave the way they do. Because, well, the man is not using his money, but using public money. We call it public trust. And you wonder if these things are deliberate.
Yeah,
the man is in office but can't deliver.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what people think should be the most, the motivating factor. If you think the people should be the primary, should be of primary interest to you, then whatever you do at the end of the day should be to improve the lot of the people. And at the end of the day, people will always find a way to remember whether you are good to them or not.
All right. At this point, we'll take a break. We'll take a break, but come back. Stay with us. Don't go just yet. Shall we talk politics? More politics now. Now, the All Progressives Congress, APC, is at a crossroads regarding the options of who to pick its presidential candidate following the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer of the PDP. Now the ruling party will need a formidable candidate as the opponent of Atiku, and this is making its forthcoming presidential primary a tight rope to climb. In preparation for the task, the APC has commenced screening of the 23 frontline presidential aspirants. Some of them screened on Monday include the APC National Leader, Bola Tinubu, Pastor Tunde Bakare, Rotimi Amaechi, and many others. Meanwhile, the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, who participated in the PDP presidential primary, is making moves to reclaim the governorship ticket in the state. The secretary to the government, Ibrahim Kashim, won the governorship ticket as the sole aspirant. Governor Mohammed is on the verge of taking the governorship ticket from Kashim. To contest the election for a second term next year. But first, let's share what transpired at the APC presidential screening on Monday with you. Very interesting. Watch on. Well, that's to show you a little of what transpired at the APC screening on Monday. So it's a tightrope, and we watch with bated breath, as they say.
I disagree that it's a tightrope.
Okay.
The party just needs to do what is right. Let the choice of the delegates, since we've elected to have the party primaries conducted in this manner, it's not it's by delegates. Let the choice of the delegates prevail.
Yeah, prevail, yeah. It's simple logic.
If the people say, okay, this is who we want, so be it. It's not for the president or anybody to choose an individual. No, that's not democracy. You see, if we are talking about tightrope now, there is self-inflicted. You expect that there will be an election. We expect that the winner should be the choice, the standard bearer of the party. So where is the tightrope? The tightrope comes when you don't know what to do. You are in two minds, whether to force consensus on people or to simply allow the wish of the delegates to prevail. If you fail to allow the wish of the delegates to prevail, then you are creating problems for the party. You are creating divisions that could cause the loss of the party. And hold on a bit.
Yeah.
And the party has suffered in the past because of this kind of intervention in the electoral process. Where you cheat the people, denying somebody who should win of victory, then that person goes to work against the party. We've seen it happen. We've seen APC lose some states in 2019 because of that. We want them, but they won't listen. We want them, but they won't listen. And they lost some of those states. These people want to contest. Allow them, let the true winner prevail. That way, there's no tightrope. Is the truth? We had Atiku win the other day. Was there a tightrope? No. What I want to see is a democratic process similar to what transpired during the PDP presidential convention. The choice of the people whose duty, whose mandate was to pick the winner prevailed in the final analysis. There was no riot after the thing. Nobody climbed the podium to cry like a baby. The true winner emerged and people walked home. So after that, then you can reconcile with people that you have defeated, like a true winner.
Jide, but they keep Nigerians guessing. And let me compare what is going on to what our participation at the World Cup, while you understand me. When we seemingly are facing wahala at the World Cup, you begin to see permutations and speculations. If we have this, if Brazil does not concede to, and so on and so on. So they're keeping the people waiting. I'm guessing.
They can't keep us waiting till kingdom come.
No.
Whether the leaders of the APC like it or not, this time around they must hold their primary election. They must hold it. And what I see is where they fail to allow the person who deserves to win to become the standard bearer of the party, or try to force people to accept a fait accompli by the president and governors, then they may just embarrass themselves. Atiku has emerged, as I said on Sunday, and I'm repeating it because it's a statement of fact. Atiku emerging as the candidate of the PDP has made an APC victory even more difficult. That is a fact. Because
at the general election.
Yes, because he is not a pushover. Anybody who can run the race against the president, a sitting president, the way he did, pushing him right to the end and taking new states that his party didn't control before, winning fresh states. That's not the sort of person that will be on the ballot and you want to joke with him. If you bring someone who is not popular enough, who does not have cross-country support and appeal, you are not going to be able to defeat an Atiku. Because this Atiku is on record. Atiku had contested elections and done well. He may not have won all the elections that is conducted, but he's done well. He's done well. He's a formidable opponent. For those who understand politics, I see a lot of permutations, funny permutations. For those who understand politics, he's a formidable opponent. He knows the game. That's why he's been right up there for many years. Somebody who has been contesting for 29 years. At some point, you want to bet that he could make it, because Abraham Lincoln didn't get tired of contesting until he finally got it. So if you imagine that someone could contest many times and ultimately get lucky, if you don't want him to get lucky, then the party has to do the right thing, choose someone that will be acceptable to the generality of the people. When you do that, everyone will now rally around
that fellow.
Yes, that ticket will now galvanize everyone.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it should be done.
Wale, again, in Nigeria, Nigerian politics is said to be a nascent one. And after 21 years, we're still in the classroom. It's a nascent democracy.
Well, it's a very unfortunate thing. APC has a very unique opportunity when it came to power in 2015. But I doubt if the party has been able to manage that success in a way that we...
After all, the incumbent tried 4 times.
In a way that we even give the impression to Nigerians that they can stay continuously for 16 years like PDP did. Because they enjoyed a lot of goodwill from Nigerians. But if you look at what has been happening in the past 2 years, you discover that the game for the presidency began almost 2 years ago, when almost a sole administrator was imposed on the party. They kept on changing the convention, national convention, and even now we are talking about presidential primary. They kept on changing the primary, you know. And even you look at the decision-making process. Who are the people that took those decisions? For instance, payment of 100 million naira. Which organ of the party took that decision to shift the party from one day to the other? And when I read the report about the screening, they said the screening, the report will be submitted to the president. What would the president do with the, with the report? Because the party does not belong to only one person. You know, the decisions needs to be taken based on the philosophy of internal democracy. And there are organs of the party that should take decisions on what, even the screening committee, who are the people that selected them. Sorry to ask this, these are very important questions. And then, if you look, but there are certain things that are clear. From the PDP primaries, that it appears APC was also waiting to see the outcome. It's not likely that APC will pick a candidate from the Northwest or the Northeast, where Atiku comes from. So if anybody wants to contest from the North, or still under APC, from what we have seen from PDP, because those are the big players, APC and PDP, I don't expect APC to pick any from the North. I don't think it should happen. And also,
Atiku will crush whoever
yes,
on that side.
you know, just like you have said, Atiku started contesting as far back as 92. In fact, he was a potential vice president candidate of Abiola. They had a moment that time, I think PDM, Progressive Democratic Movement. Oh, yeah. It was an unstoppable machine.
That's it.
Led by General Yaradua.
Late Yaradua.
Yes, it was only Babangida had to screen Yaradua everywhere. He went, they will wreak havoc. Nobody could stop them. And that was the machinery that Atiku inherited. He contested, it could have been, in fact, instead of picking King Gibe, Abiola had wanted to pick Atiku. So since that time, when you are talking about national networking, when you are talking about wealth, when you are talking about,
so put simply, Atiku
and it was the APC. Don't
for
forget.
the moment, Atiku remains the
was the
man to
APC.
beat.
Yes. So the APC needs somebody of equal or greater capacity. If you go and pick somebody from narrow prison, an unseated candidate, Atiku will crush that person. I'm telling you. So the APC has a big task ahead of of the party. And that is why I think the starting point is to ensure that the party does not break up. To ensure the party does not break up, allow free and fair primaries. These are that say that you want to disqualify some people. Who are you to disqualify who? For what now? Let the people, let the delegates choose. You are screaming, you are all that. What is civil? I mean, if we know that security agencies look at credentials of candidates.
Yeah.
They do their own screening.
Yeah.
But these are their committees and all that, fine. But they don't have legal power to say that this person cannot contest. They don't.
And
so they should allow it.
And if you, from the guidelines and the law governing this process, if someone feels that he's been treated badly, and you do not give him a chance to protest through the legal channel, if he goes to court, that the whole process is a nullity. At this stage, they ought to know this, because that's why it is provided for that there will be a panel that responds to petitions and all that. That has to be accommodated. If anybody feels wronged and you deny him that channel,
there will be a problem.
Then there will be a problem that may lead to the voiding of the entire process. So this is a time to use their heads rather than their intuition. Do what is right. It's not difficult to do what is right. You know, trying to avoid doing what is right is what is really difficult. I mean, it's a very easy choice. Let the people decide who will be the standard bearer.
Because the voter is king.
Yes.
The voter is king.
For a few individuals to simply say, oh, we want so person. And you are saying you want to prove the numbers.
We are joined by Judge Atikeja. Judge, good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, citizens. And good evening to everybody there.
Okay, then.
Babajide, let me first thank you for what you and your team are doing for Nigeria. I've been listening to you for some time now.
Thanks.
Where you speak truth to power. We need journalists like you in this country.
Thank you.
What is happening at the APC, I would put it at the seat of the president. I'm sorry to say this, but that's how I see it. The whole shenanigans appears to be approved by the president. Otherwise, it will not be like that. It appears the APC can only learn lessons the hard way, the way they had lost some states in the recent past. If they are not very careful, they may lose the presidency this time around. All they are trying to do is to skim out the right person that can win the election.
All right, Judge. Thank you very kindly. We got you first time. But there's one key thing. The people, the elector, the voter is king here. It appears he's schemed out because it is not the PDP that will elect Atiku, make him pass, or whoever the APC put. It's the voter, the man on the street, the ordinary voter. Does the politician take him into account when they do these things? Because he's watching.
Ultimately, the voter will still be the king. But at this level, we are talking about party elective positions and party primaries. Delegates, just a reflection of the party. A fraction of the members of the party will choose. There's nothing we can do about that. Even in advanced democracies, delegates elect standard bearers for parties. At the main election, it is an all-comers affair. Once you have the voter's card, you know, so the voter will still be king. The voter is waiting patiently. And when I say that if they do not make the right choice, they could pay for it, I'm not referring to delegates. I'm referring to that voter, the ordinary voter, because at the point when we have the general election, that is when he has to then decide. So if you pick someone who is not popular enough and you think that you can get the voters to simply vote for that person, somebody that they don't see as popular, somebody that they don't like, that is when you will discover that the voter is indeed the king. At this stage, the ordinary voter has little or nothing to do with what's going on. But it will get to his turn to show the power that resides in his voter's card. So they have got to make the right choice. And the right choice is the person who can stand up to Atiku, who can actually defeat Atiku. If we don't make the right choice, it's going to be easy for Atiku. That's the truth.
Well, Wale, I dropped that in the discussion just so we go back to the Second Republic.
Yeah.
Experience, hindsight will tell us that during the Second Republic, the party had a structure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so at what point did politics become like this in our country? Today, we hear of governors becoming more powerful than the center and all that.
You see, if there are a lot of reasons that we cannot begin to state here, so many reasons. Military fascism, you know, militarization of our culture and heritage. But the important thing
You
is
think
that
we have not recovered enough?
we have not recovered enough, because the important thing is that democracy is government of the people. The people should be the stakeholders. But the situation where you are talking about a few people, they just sit down somewhere and you keep on saying we are the biggest party in Nigeria, and then these few caucus, kitchen cabinet, take decisions and imposes, you know, that decision on everyone.
A decision binding on everybody.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, you know, if you look at APC, even when they were when they started picking, you know, ministers and all that, I'm not sure there was wide consultation, because democracy is about group interests. People made sacrifices, southwest, southeast. So if you want to share positions, you sit down with their leaders. Look, this is it. Where do we go from here? But just pick people that you think should be loyal to you instead of being loyal to the party. And this thing has been a kind of albatross on the APC. And they think that, you know, they can just do this and get away with it. A lot of Nigerians are watching. And that's why we are saying that, look, this primary, allow delegates to choose. Don't go and sit down somewhere and say consensus candidate. Consensus candidate is another name for imposition in this contest. You don't sit down somewhere and then, because you want somebody you can control, somebody you can manipulate, somebody that will dance to your, instead of somebody that will dance to the tunes of Nigerians. You want that your parochial interest to be defended and protected. That will not fail. And if Nigerians find out that APC can no longer represent their interests, they will look for alternatives. They will look for alternatives. So APC needs to be very careful to ensure that the will of the people triumph. In this case, those delegates, let them vote. Don't impose the consensus candidates.
At this point, it is not wrong to talk about a dark horse, a third force. Have you given a thought to that?
There's no such thing as a third force in the current dispensation. It's not going to happen.
You think the two front runners will just be it?
The two front runners, are you talking about the APC?
Yeah, and the PDP.
The presidential election will be won by one of the two dominant parties. There's not going to be anything like a third force, and I want to be quoted. Those who doubt what I'm saying, they should remind me in 2023 whether indeed a third force will materialize. There is no such thing as a third force.
Okay. You don't envisage...
The third force will not take power. The nature of our politics, you can't just emerge from nowhere. Even the APC that is a merger of different parties, it took them some years. From 2013, they were working very hard at it, you know, and major opposition parties, ABGA, ANPP, you know, PDP, CPC, they came together. But to imagine that a solitary party will just come out of the woods and upstage those two parties, it's not going to happen. Okay. There's no way by which it can happen.
Wale, before we go, let's drop Bauchi in the mix now. Governor Bala Mohammed wanted to run for presidency of the PDP, but lost the ticket.
Yeah.
But he had to hurry back home, and now he's fighting for a second term.
Well, it's another strange but not unusual
scenario
development, because the governor made reference to what happened in Sokoto State. But this kind of thing should not happen, because Ibrahim Kachim, he picked him as a Prosi candidate. And then when he lost, he came back and, you know, we're expecting to pick the ticket again.
That's your Kurocha style.
This is quite unfortunate, because he had the first time.
But you are not surprised?
I'm not surprised, because same things are happening in Nigerian politics today, that if they tell you anything happens, you just, well, you are not surprised, you are not even shocked. So many strange things are happening. You just go and pick any...
The season of audits.
I mean, so we have seen too many that we can't even doubt anything, that, you know, that anything can happen. So, and this same person will also hand over that ticket to you and say, okay, I'm no longer interested.
Yeah.
So where is the primary where, you know, he was elected as the governor? If he wants to take the ticket back,
unfortunately, the law allows that. You know, Okorocha did it.
Yeah, he did it.
2019.
Then Tambuwa did the same thing. So more governors will do the same thing in the future.
All right, I hear we must go, but again, we wish the party well. Just to remind the APC, the PDP has solved its major problem. Yes. They have a candidate. APC, we are waiting for you.
Pressure is back on the APC.
Yeah, please. We know you can sort it out. We know you can. Let reason prevail. Okay, we must go. The backroom boys are asking us to. Time is the master. It is so we are out of here. Thank you for your time.
We'll be back here tomorrow.
Yeah. Wale,
thank you.
I greet you.
Thank you.
So that's it for the program today, and join us tomorrow for another episode, as Jide had said. You may also watch a repeat of this one at 11 later today. Join us on Sunday for an expanded edition from 1:30 to 3:30. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.